I didn't land here by choice. My name's Dren Varys, and I was ejected from my transport shuttle during a magnetic storm over a classified sector known only to high-clearance cartographers. One moment, I was sipping processed caffeine on the bridge of the Celtic Fire, and the next, I was plummeting toward a dead zone flagged with more warnings than a war front. But Karel wasn't dead. It was alive in ways I wasn't prepared for. Imagine a forest that breathes. Imagine rivers that hum in frequencies no ear can hear but your bones feel. Everything here moves with intention. Even the air tastes like memory. On my second day, I saw her. She wasn't hiding, just existing. Balanced on the thick limb of a floating tree, watching me with eyes like liquid bronze, streaked with violet veins. Her skin shimmered between shades of dusk, not because of pigment, but something beneath it. Something old. She didn't speak. Not with words. My translator, an advanced biotech thread woven into my auditory nerves, registered her signal as intention, not language. She introduced herself with no syllables, just sensation. Thyra'Luun. It wasn't a name. It was a concept. She who endures the stars. I was stunned. She studied me like I was both a riddle and a threat. I reached for a ration pack, instinctively offering something familiar. She recoiled, not from fear but offense. The plastic crinkled like an insult in this sacred biome. We didn't speak again. Not for days. Instead, I followed the planet. Karel showed me things no scanner could detect. Massive blossoms that opened only during electric storms, creatures with glass for skin. A root system that connected the entire continent like a nervous system, and whispered. Always whispered. Then, I saw it. The Thul. An apex predator, even the Consortium classified as unapproachable. It moved like a storm trapped in flesh. Legs like pillars, claws that clanged against obsidian rock, and eyes, deep, wet voids. But it didn't hunt me. It was guarding something. 3 small creatures, nested in a hollow crater filled with pulsing blue moss. Hatchlings, and somehow, I was allowed near. I didn't dare move fast. One wrong twitch, and I'd be a memory. But the creature tilted its head. It sniffed the air, growled low, and turned away. I stepped forward. The largest hatchling crawled into my lap. That's when I sensed her again. Thyra'Luun stood atop a ridge, arms folded, expression unreadable. But her stance had changed. Her head tilted, one hand lifted toward me. Not a threat. Not rejection. An invitation. She descended. As she approached, I felt a pressure ease in the atmosphere, like the planet itself had exhaled. The way she looked at me, like I had passed a test I didn't know I was taking. She finally spoke. Not aloud. Not through tech. She placed her palm against my chest, and her thoughts entered mine. If the beast of blood and bone trusts you, perhaps I judged too quickly. I didn't reply. I couldn't. The truth is, I didn't know why the Thul had accepted me. Maybe it sensed something in me I couldn't see myself. Maybe it knew that I was lost, broken, and carrying secrets I hadn't even unlocked yet. And Thyra? She wasn't just an alien girl. She was something else entirely. Something cosmic. Something dangerous. And for the first time, I felt like Karel had not trapped me here. It had summoned me. Thyra'Luun didn't speak again for 2 days, but she didn't leave. She moved silently through the forest, always a few steps ahead, as if the terrain itself was warning her of every shift in wind or tremor in stone. I followed, unsure if I was her guest or her prisoner. I had no working comms, no food, no map. And oddly, I didn't feel panic. There was a rhythm to Karel, a hum you didn't hear but began to feel after a while. The planet had no cities, no satellites, no artificial sky, yet it felt more alive than any orbital station I'd ever lived on. Thyra finally stopped near a dome-shaped clearing where bioluminescent vines climbed the remains of what looked like an ancient vessel. Rusted, but not human. Not anything I recognized. She touched the hull and it reacted, shifting slightly, glowing in time with her pulse. It was then she turned to me. "You carry more than metal." I blinked. "I don't understand." "Your body is wrapped in machines, but beneath that, your blood speaks." I thought she was being poetic, until she pointed to the scar on my wrist. A birthmark, or so I'd believed. She pressed her fingers against it and my vision blurred. Flashes tore through my skull, blue corridors, voices in static, and something warm, soft, reaching for me across stars. Then, her voice inside my head again. "You don't know what you are." I collapsed. When I woke, the Thyra'Luun hatchlings were curled against me like I was one of their own. The mother was gone, likely hunting. Thyra sat on a smooth boulder nearby, weaving delicate strands of energy between her fingertips. I had questions. Too many. But the first one forced its way out of my throat. "Why did it trust me?" she answered without looking. "Because you are not fully apart from us." That didn't make sense. I was human. I was born on Tyronus 4, grew up scavenging, starports, sleeping in scrapyards. My DNA file was cleared and certified before I was ever allowed into the Arc Luminal database. But Thyra didn't argue. She only stood in motion toward the edge of the clearing. I followed her down into the forest, deeper than I'd ever gone. Trees grew denser. The air thickened, saturated with something electric and ancient. We descended until the roots themselves began to glow, threads of memory woven through time. Then I saw them. Tombstones, maybe. Or relics. Crystalline slabs growing out of the earth, humming with language older than stars. They formed a circle around a central altar. There, suspended mid-air, a sphere floated. Not metal, not stone. A living record. Thyra approached it with reverence. "This is where I learned to hate your kind." The sphere darkened, and then projected light. Images flickered across the mist, a planet burning, human ships in the sky, extraction drills tearing at the ground, screams, fleeing shapes. And at the center of it all, a figure, me, or someone who looked exactly like me, but older, colder, wearing Consortium armor. My knees buckled. I didn't remember any of it. "This isn't possible." She didn't blink. "Not your body, but your echo." The idea splintered my thoughts. Could a genetic imprint last across reincarnations? Or was I a clone of someone they feared? Someone who'd betrayed them before? "I'm not him," I said, but it sounded weak even to me. Thyra turned. The Thyra'Luun knows truth, it sees beyond form. If it accepted you, perhaps your shadow no longer holds poison. I stepped closer to her. Not out of bravado, but desperation. "You think I'm a copy, a remnant. Then why haven't you killed me?" Her expression changed. Softer. "Because something ancient trusted you, and now, so do I." She reached for my hand. The contact burned, not pain, but awakening. In that moment, I felt everything. Her memories, her grief. Her people scattered across worlds, hunted by the very organization that once employed me, and buried beneath it all, something else. A signal, deep in the core of Karel, a dormant call waiting for activation, not just from Thyra, but from me, as if something inside this planet had been waiting for my return, even before I was born. I didn't sleep that night. Thyra'Luun rested nearby, breathing in rhythm with the Thyra'Luun hatchlings nestled around us. I sat still beneath the massive roots of the memory grove, staring at my trembling hands. My DNA wasn't just human. That much was clear, but the part of me I didn't recognize, the part buried under blood and bone, stitched by geneticists or something older, remembered this place. Not in thoughts, but instincts. The way I could walk the terrain blindfolded. The way the atmosphere didn't fight me. The way the wildlife didn't flee. Something here was mine, or I belonged to it. At dawn, Thyra broke the silence. They will come soon. Your kind, not for you, but for the core. What core? She didn't answer. Instead, she led me into a massive underground cavity shielded by woven stone and mirrored flora. At the center floated a spire, glowing faintly, vibrating with an energy so dense my skin prickled just standing near it. This is Vethra, she said, the Singularity Heart. It wasn't a power source, it was a seed, a planetary. Intelligence woven from cosmic frequencies, left by something ancient, older than species. Karel was built around it, not the other way around, and somehow my genome held the final encryption key. How do they know? Thyra's expression darkened. Because someone told them. That's when I heard it. A familiar frequency, one I hadn't heard since orbit. A voice. Dren? You alive down there? It was Cale Reiner, my oldest friend. We grew up together, trained side by side in orbital recon. He was the one who pulled me from my crash on the mining colony of Astron. 8. I hadn't seen him in 3 years. I answered the call. Kaylee, how the hell did you find this channel? Same way I found you, brother. You're glowing on every black site scanner like a beacon. What the hell did you unlock down there? The warmth in his voice faltered. He wasn't alone. Listen, Dren, they've got a price on your head. Consortium sending an extraction squad, high-level clearance. I tried to stall them, but they're not interested in diplomacy. Something inside me dropped. Cale, did you tell them? Silence. Then, I didn't know what you were, man. None of us did. A second voice crackled through the channel. Female. Cold. Unmistakably Consortium. Target confirmed. We engage in 6 hours. Prepare containment. The transmission cut. I didn't realize Thyra had moved until I felt her hand on my shoulder. You must leave this place. Now. I'm not abandoning you. If they reach the heart, they'll fracture the world mind. Karel will die. And the stars will fall silent again. My mind raced. We couldn't outrun Consortium firepower. They would burn forests, slaughter beasts, destroy the Orak Thul and anything that resisted. I couldn't let that happen. But how could I stop them? There is one way, Thyra whispered. She led me deeper beyond the spire, into a vault sealed in ancient glyphs. The air buzzed with static as a pedestal emerged. Upon it rested a gauntlet, not mechanical, organic, alive. It pulsed as I neared. What is it? I asked. Echo Protocol. It was a neural amplifier, designed to awaken dormant genetic memory. To complete what was buried in me. Wearing it would rewrite parts of my mind. Memories not my own would surface. And maybe his thoughts would rise too. The one who looked like me. The one who betrayed her people. It could change me, I murmured. Thyra stepped closer. Her fingers touched the side of my face. You are already changing. The choice is whether you control it, or they do. I looked into her eyes, saw the pain, the hope, the faintest flicker of something I didn't deserve, trust. Then I took the gauntlet, and I put it on. Pain flared instantly, not physical, but cognitive. An entire history shoved into my skull like a dam bursting. I saw battles I never fought, loved someone I'd never met, killed in a voice not mine, betrayed species, built worlds, destroyed them. And I remembered the encryption key. It wasn't a code, it was a word, spoken only in a frequency Karel would recognize. I opened my mouth, and the world listened. The word echoed through the caverns like thunder wrapped in silk. It wasn't a sound so much as a resonance, one that belonged to me, yet predated me. I didn't understand how I knew it. I didn't need to. When I spoke it, Karel responded. Defy. Roots shifted. The trees moaned like titans waking. The air grew heavy, charged, electric. Thyra'Luun stared at me, breath caught in her throat. You are the recall. I didn't know what that meant, but the Thul did. It arrived silently, though it towered 3 times my height. Its hatchlings scattered into the shadows as their mother knelt before the spire. Her head bowed, not to the planet. To me. She was ready, so was I. The first Consortium dropships cut through Karel's upper atmosphere like scalpels through skin. Twin crescents of fire marked their descent. I could feel the hum of their engines through the soil. Thyra and I stood atop the ridgeline, overlooking the valley where the Singularity heart pulsed brighter than I'd ever seen it. We had one chance. Echo Protocol had unlocked more than memory. It had awakened dormant command codes embedded in the architecture of the world itself. Karel wasn't just alive. It was waiting for instructions. The forest moved when I moved. The winds shifted around my thoughts. I was the key, and the Consortium was coming to snap it in half. Kale Reiner was the first out of the dropship. He wore a reinforced neural exosuit, his face hidden behind a polar vis helmet. I knew his gait, though. Confident. Controlled. I'd watched it for years on mission after mission, and now he was aiming a plasma carbine at my chest. Dren, step away from her. Do not engage. Final warning. I trusted you, I said. I saved you. Do you know how many red flag files I erased to get you on that transport? You were a walking glitch. I thought I could help. But this is something else. The other soldiers fanned out. 4 of them. Consortium issue, unmarked. Thyra stood still beside me, arms at her side, silent. We just want the core, Kale said. You don't have to die. You'll kill the planet. It's just a planet. And that's when I realized Kale never wanted to protect me. He wanted to control me, use the echo buried in my genes, turn me into a beacon they could weaponize. And when I resisted, he'd burn everything down. Don't do this, I warned. He stepped forward, and the Thul lunged from the tree line. Time slowed. 3 soldiers incinerated instantly beneath her claws. The 4th tried to run, was dragged into the roots by something unseen. The forest itself turned feral. But Kale? He dodged. He fired, a shot meant for Thyra. I moved on instinct, took the blast. Agony tore through my ribs, heat and light. I hit the ground hard, breath gone. Thyra knelt over me, eyes wild. Stay with me. I can't, I choked. You must. You are the signal. My vision dimmed. Then she did something I never expected. She kissed me, not lips to lips, but her forehead to mine. A bond. A final offering of trust, of belief. Her thoughts rushed into mine like light through shattered glass. You were once our enemy. Now, you are our only hope. She stood, faced Kale. He aimed again. She didn't flinch. Then a sound ripped through the atmosphere, deeper than gravity, sharper than light. It came from the heart, a frequency, the last frequency, activated by the word I had spoken before, finalized now by my blood soaking into Karel's roots. The planet answered, and unleashed itself. Tremors shook the ground. The spire lit like a dying star. Vines erupted from the soil, metallic, alive, screaming. They wrapped the dropship, crushed it into shrapnel. Kale turned to run. A root pierced him clean through. He didn't scream, just looked at me as the life left his eyes, regret maybe, or understanding. I woke days later, my wounds sealed by Carol's healing bloom, liquid light and memory-infused resin. I lay beneath the Thul's den. The hatchlings curled around me, pulsing gently. Thyra sat by my side, alive, calm, watching stars drift across the alien sky. They won't return, she said. Ka-Rel has sealed itself. For now. And me? She tilted her head. You belong here, not just by fate, but by choice. I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I came to Ka-Rel a stranger. Now I am its voice. Once feared, then trusted. Now, loved. And when the stars burn, too bright, and the empires return, the planet will remember, and it will not be kind.